Hey guys, sorry, I started at one thing and ended with another thing and then got lost somewhere in that transition. I'm still gonna keep it because I heard what I said and I'm like, oh, I like it. It makes me happy. So part of this week is going to be, well, this upcoming week, and part of the week after, besides the fact that I'm only going to get paid for 3 days of each week, I make enough money. Don't worry about it. But it's going to be like one of those things where I'm like, okay, what can we give up? Nothing. I'm just going to not be an idiot with money. And I've been doing really well over the past couple weeks, so I should be fine. But it's going to be figuring out 2025. And figuring out 2025 is in what am I going to work on? So 2023 was my inner monologue. That was a big thing in 2023. 2024 has been a lot of, how do I put it? Figuring out my role in the world and how I am allowing people to deal with me. And I'm pretty impressed with where I've got to. 2025 though, excuse me, I think is going to be the year where my inner monologue is much kinder. There's not a lot of you're a dumb fuck happening in my inner monologue, but there is a lot of this is why you're not lovable. And there's not a lot of okay, you're awful. It's just okay, here's something, I can see it right now that makes it so people don't even want to talk to you. And it's a lie. And I don't know why this lie is in my world. I do know why. I know why the lie is in my world. I don't know why I have fostered it for so many years. So this year is when I start saying, when that voice starts talking, to shut the fuck up and give me proof. Give me proof. So I'd give you a for instance, but I don't really want to call anybody out. I have people in my world that sit there and say, this is why nobody wants to date me. And it's like, no, that is not why people don't want to date you. That's not a reason to not date somebody. It's not a valid one. Every once in a while I will say, I have a very good, for instance, and I can't say it. It's not mine. For me, why I always think I'm undateable is because I am not as suave and as cool and as if you talk to me, this weird stoppage that I put in my sentences is actually very normal. Me being hyper and excited about things happens, but it happens in very brief stints. So you guys get the brief stints. The rest of the time, I'm very quiet. I'm listening. I'm thinking. I'm trying to come up with a game plan of what it is. I was in a meeting and my boss is like, I've been talking over you the whole time. I said, no, you haven't. I've just been listening. I don't understand the problem well enough to be able to provide insight. So and the guy's like, oh, I forgot to send you guys this thing we did. That would have been great. So I'm looking at it while we're talking, and I'm coming up with, and I'm flipping through things, and there's a lot of they took a file, and it had examples. They left the examples in there. So you get to an example, and it doesn't say example. And you're like, this isn't anything to do with what we're talking about. And you flip up and down it, and then finally it says example somewhere on there. And you're like, oh, forget it. So I'm the guy that will sit there through an entire meeting and not say a word. Everybody's like, why didn't you talk? I'm like, I didn't have anything to contribute that you guys weren't already talking about. I can sit there and say yes if you'd like, but I don't find that's not helpful. I agree with you, but I'm sitting there. So we get done with the meeting, and I find the information my boss has been asking questions about. I said, oh, if you go to the last page, you will see all the stuff we were talking about and the chronological order, and I started going through all the ands. And I said, I noticed that October and November were big hitters. And then somebody said something that just went, poof, and I'm like, You got to be kidding me. There's an accessory that goes with the machine that wraps things that if we had it, it would provide all the tension needed for the product and it wouldn't expand. And I'm like, so that was a cost save on somebody's part, and that fucked us over with all this other stuff. Way to go, guys. And it was just like enlightening. They didn't do their due diligence in going through the risk of what not getting that thing was. And now they're going to have to buy it anyway. So that was my fun. Love you guys.